Okay, so you got a bunch of kids running up and down in the southwest district of London. It's called Clapham, right? You've got a bunch of kids. Let's be real. There'll be all types of races involved, but it's gonna be targeted at black children. When you watch those videos, it's overwhelmingly black kids, right? And I somewhat blame the NSPCC. They're this child protection service that they've been going on for decades now, right? And what they did was, when I was younger, because I'm a millennial, they took away the ability for our parents to discipline us. So before the law came in, which said you can't slap your kids no more, I come from Jamaican heritage, right? And we got some crazy whoopings, yeah? We're talking, we call them old school Jamaican whoopings, you know what I mean? You're out of line, you got a clip around the head, a clip on the bottom, clip on the legs. It was a way of disciplining us when we got out of line, you know? And a lot of us, especially young black kids at the time, some of us needed it. Some of us needed it more than others, yeah? Just that sharp pain, because when the women used to slap us, you didn't really feel it. You felt it as like a little toddler, but as you got older, you got like a little clip, you're just a little hot arm, whatever. But like when your dad and your uncles like slapped you, it felt like a bus. You know, when they were around, you chilled, you relaxed, because it was like, you know, you're going to feel it. But nevertheless, with all these slaps and whatnot, it was done in a way to where there was never a mark left on your body. They never wanted to injure you. It was just, you need some discipline. You're being unruly, and we need to slap you, yeah, to get you back in line for at least a good 5 or 6 hours before you start acting up again, right? So, and I'll be real, there was levels to it. You know what I mean? You had level 1, which would be the hand, because you'd done something kind of mild, which is still you were out of line, but it wasn't that bad, so you got a slap. And then you may do something, I don't know, swear, or I don't know, step in dog shit and walk in the house or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know, something a little bit more serious, and grandma might take her slipper off and, you know what I mean, chase you through the through the house with the slipper. You know what I mean? Slipper had a bit of a more of a sting to it than the hand. You know what it is. And then, and I'll be real, then you had like a higher level, like the belt. Yeah, you must have done something outside to disrespect the family, and it's a case of wait till you get home. You know what I mean? Anyhow, you had the police bring you back home or something crazy like that. You got the belt. It was funny times, but all of this was done for discipline. It wasn't done because our families enjoyed hitting us. It wasn't anything to do with that. It was more to do with, you're out of line, you're being unruly, yeah, you're full of energy, and that energy is making you do wrong things. So I need to get you back in line, you know? And I got the world of whoopings, you know what I mean? I was unruly at times. It is what it is. But yeah, the NSPCC got involved and banned it. And what we've got now is just a bunch of degenerate kids just doing whatever they want, wherever they want, and they do not care. Like, I was scared to swear in front of my parents. I still don't do it now. All right. I would never really answer back on any of those things, but I watch the younger generation now, and they're giving it to the parents. And the reason why they're giving it to the parents is because they've never ever been hit by the parents before. They've never had that. They've never felt it. And because that's been taken away, we've now got a generation of kids who just don't care. No respect, no nothing. If my generation did something like that, you know what we would be worried about? If social media was like back then, if social media was there, we'd be worried that we'd be on film. Because we know if our folks seen us amongst that, we know once they identify us, you're getting a phone call, you wait till you get home. Yeah? It's going to be a slap of fun when you get in. Yeah? You have to take a big, deep breath. Because you know when you're going in there, you're going to feel it. But it's not a thing that happens. And the government's now sat there, what we need to do something, and we need to, you know, implement something so kids don't do this again. You know, we need to bring back the youth centres. Or no, they're not even saying they need to bring back the youth centres. This is people's opinion, sorry. People are saying, should we bring back the youth centres? And, you know, this is probably one of the reasons why they're unruly. No, it's, you need to allow parents to give a certain tolerance, a certain threshold of a whooping. You need to bring it back. You do. Now, I understand the reason why it became illegal, because amongst Jamaican households, and I know this overwhelmingly, whether it was in my household, cousin's household, other Jamaican people I knew, we all got whoopings, but we were all fine. There was never any injuries or bruising. The issue came when it was other cultures and certain, I'm not going to start naming other races because I don't want to be offensive, but clearly other races were balling up the fists. We got slaps as young Jamaican black kids. Other cultures were using their feet and fists on the kids. And a lot of the kids, I remember going to school, and some of the people in my year, they'd be coming in with bruises on their neck and in black eyes and stuff, and like the teacher would be concerned, like thinking, are you being bullied in school? It's like, no, he just walked in. We ain't done nothing to him, you know? And as kids, we'd be like, whoa, who did that to you, you know? And I think the build-up of certain cultures taking it a bit too far is where it just got out of hand. And so I get why they made it illegal, but I think like it should be brought back on a I'm trying to find the wording for it, on somewhat of a cultural basis. I know that sounds unfair. I know that sounds, some people are going to say that's unrealistic, but no, I'm speaking for black kids, Jamaican born black kids in general. Africans, to be fair, I think they're still doing it. I just think their kids are just too scared to actually come out and say anything. They keep that stuff quiet in house. But with us overwhelming like black kids from Jamaican culture, we need whoopings. I've got my little nieces and nephews. Sometimes they can just be unruly. Yeah, I remember trying to, like, you know, tell one of my young cousins to calm down. The little you slapped me. I just picked him up. What are you doing? Right across my face. He hit me. And I just thought, if I ever did that to one of my family members growing up, yo, hey, over the knee. Yeah! And after you go away, you cry for a bit, and then you calm. You calm. And don't get me wrong, you can't whoop these kids running up, you know, doing the mob thing right now. They're too far gone. But what I am trying to say is, from the younger kids currently that can't go outside without being supervised, you know, we need to instill some form of thorough discipline on those ones, because these little, you know, runarounds, that's it. Yeah, they're always going to be that way, you know. But the government got involved in other people's cultures just a little bit too much. I remember the advert, and I think it was the NSPCC did it, where this white father had a little cartoon son, and he was getting angry with the cartoon son, and he kept slapping the cartoon son. Yeah, and then the little cartoon son wet itself, and he's like, "You're making me do this," and then hit the kid again, and then I think the kid fell down the stairs, the little cartoon kid. And then the screen moved away and then moved back, and then it was no longer a cartoon kid, it was an actual like child on the floor knocked out. And then it shown a caption saying, "Real kids don't bounce back." And like, I'll be honest, we as black kids at the time, whoever saw that advert, and I speak for a lot of us, we looked at that and thinking, we don't get whoopings like that. We were looking at it like if the advert, maybe the advert's still on YouTube, we were looking at that like, whoa, we get whoopings, but nothing like that. That's crazy. And that's what opened up our eyes to the fact that in other races and other cultures, they're taking it a little bit further than they should have. Don't get me wrong, there'll be the odd Jamaican person that's punching up and kicking up the child somewhere. Yeah, I'm not going to try and say all Jamaicans had the same mindset, but culturally, our children, and as I was a child once or whatnot, our children are black Jamaican based, of black origin children. Yeah. So I'm talking based on Jamaican descent. Yeah. Born in Britain, but you come from Jamaican parents or grandparents, right? We can be unruly. Yeah. And this situation that's going on right now, it's black kids that are going to be blamed for it. Doesn't matter if you got the odd flipping Turkish kid amongst them or the odd white kid. It's black kids that are going to be blamed for this. And we need to start reining in our own children and stop waiting for the government to tell us what to do before we can do it. You know, we need to bring discipline back to our children. You know, I've got set few family members that have turned around and said F this government and been whooping their kids from being born. Like, you're out of line. Yeah, I've seen it. Certain family members in my family don't care about the rules. The majority of them overwhelmingly do. They're like, we're not doing that. Yeah, especially with the girl children. No. But I've got one odd uncle that's like, no. And he's clipping his son around the air. Like, son's like 13, 14. Yeah, watch your mouth. He does not care. And he knows he's raising black children. And those black children can get out of line, and he brings them back online. And I wish we could bring that back, because rough housing matters, especially with young black men. Yeah? The women, it can go either way, but when it comes to young black men need rough housing. They need to be slapped straight. You know, because when you don't slap them straight, we'll get cheeky. And then we'll think being cheeky is normal. And then we'll just carry on being cheeky to where we do something stupid, where we potentially pick up a knife or a gun, and you know where that goes. But you see all this knife crime and all this stuff and all this crazy stuff, I understand it's a mixture of races, but the imagery that's going on right now is young black men. And we've lost our control as a community, as a Jamaican black community. We've lost our control over our youth because a bunch of middle-aged white dudes in Parliament have turned around and said, we have to now discipline our children in other ways. And it's like, the other ways don't work. They just don't work. So we're going to have to come to a conclusion. I personally believe, let black people whoop the kids. Whooping. Not beat them up. We're talking whoopings. Yeah? The whooping means something. Yeah? And it needs to be brought back. Old school Jamaican whoopings is a must. If you want to save the younger generation, yeah? If you don't care really, and you're just happy to see young black kids run amok, whatever. But to me, I care. And we need rough housing back. We do. We need some form of a level of tolerance that's allowed to discipline our kids. A little clip round the legs did no harm. It did no harm. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think, all right?